Tesla as the biggest EV manufacturer, BYD says, hold my beer, we're taking over. And they're also coming here to Europe, to Germany, for example, also with the BYD Seal. This is a competitor to the Tesla Model 3. And we're going to find out, can it succeed on the toughest automotive market in the world with the highest expectation of the customers? We'll tell you all about it here with Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with a full review of the BYD Seal. In the front, we see a very fluent look. And indeed, the CD value is also really low, 0.219, so comparable also to the Tesla Model 3 indeed. Very beautiful, by the way, in the lower part here with the lights. You can even better see it in the shadow or in our basement garage here. That's pretty cool. So overall, a very, very sleek look. Towards the side, 19-inch wheels. And the good thing is, also similar to Tesla, you do not have to configure this car a lot. There's a base version with rear-wheel drive, and there's an optional all-wheel drive version called Excellence. There's also one we can see here that also adds variable frequency damping, so it acts accordingly to what it finds on the ground basically. So the suspension is a little bit more sophisticated. Yeah, and that's it. And then you can maybe just choose the color and you're done. Turning indicators here in the front, replace this part here, and when it's a little bit darker here, we can even better see this lower part, which is really beautiful. Do you want to play? This one definitely sounds like a horror movie, right? This standard BYD sound. Hello there. 4 meters 80 or 189 inches is the length here of the BYD Seal. And the interesting thing is that the battery, 82.5 kilowatt hours net, and it's a LFP battery that is also cobalt-free, for example. So the pros is they use less of these rare materials and so on, and it's also better in the durability. However, the one disadvantage is that the fast charging is a little bit slower. So we can expect, although it has a 150 kilowatt DC peak, it does take most of the time more than 40 minutes. There, for example, the Tesla Model 3 is quicker in fast charging. They indeed have a very sporty design and also this very cool light signature all the way around, and then also these individual dots inside. The rear-wheel drive version is at 5.9 seconds in the acceleration figure. All-wheel drive here, so one electric motor per axle at 3.8. That's why it also says here at the exterior. And the turning indicators here in the rear have this cascading effect. Of course, they use a purpose-built EV platform. So one of the special things here is that the lower part of the vehicle is being also stabilized by the battery housing itself. And that is actually something that is really interesting and adds to the stability of the whole vehicle, or to the torsional rigidity, as we say. Then under the hood here, is there a frunk? Yes, there is here, and actually quite substantial, and can, for example, house a charging cable. This is the key fob. That one doesn't look that good, but you can also use a key card or your smartphone, but it's still good to have one, definitely. Then the flush door handles come out, door closing sound. That one is actually very solid indeed, and also solid as for the materials here. Soft touch leatherette, microfiber insert. It also looks quite fancy how they integrated the door opener. Window lever controls for also classic controlling, so to speak, and also really soft for the elbows. Hardback just at the lower part. And then this interior here looks indeed quite sporty already from that steering wheel, and real buttons at the steering wheel. Here, for example, the cruise control, right side for the volume, but also some multifunctional controls. And we can see it has digital instruments. Yes, here more microfiber inserts. And then these seats here. So BYD in Europe and Germany has assured me that all the seats here, in Europe at least, they're all vegan, so all animal free, no matter which trim you pick, and the steering wheel itself. And well, it looks cool with this quilting here, and the quality of the materials also makes a very good first impression. Interesting here as well, this integrated head restraint, and also has this sporty hole then. Headroom here, still a lot of left, with 189 or 602, and especially in comparison to the Tesla Model 3 or the Neo ET5, where my head is kind of like here, and the front ceiling almost begins here, like here. Here is a lot more room over my head, so definitely better suitable for tall drivers. Interior cockpit overview. First of all, the steering wheel manual goes in and out, up and down, smooth process. Then you can see these 10.25 digital instruments. I'm really glad we have them. That's a pro in comparison to the Tesla Model 3. Then 15.6-inch screen. You either have it here horizontally for, like maybe a charging stop and watch a movie or something, or you can also tilt it like this. Go then here with this button right there. And this is, for example, more helpful than for the navigation, because when you're navigating, you're always looking kind of like, where you're going upward. Of course, it also works with the navigation in a horizontal way, but that's a pretty fancy feature, isn't it? And you also get a proper head-up display. Digital instruments, speed on the left side, right side, recuperation and so on. And then when you switch the driving modes, it's also displayed then right here. Infotainment system, first of all, it's super quick, so the hardware behind it is really good. Then these are then the vehicle settings where you can individualize everything, also from the driving things like how you want your feedback there from the steering wheel, for example. And also important, they do offer Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and that is a really large integration right there. Wow, so kind of impressed by that. And once again, in the close-up, how we can turn the screen. And I mean, that also goes decently quickly. Yeah, I'm not sure. In that way, of course, it fits better to the cockpit. Climate control is here in the lower part, but you can also control it actually at the steering wheel. I can select here the vent strength with rolling the jog wheel, or go to the temperature and do the same. It's a good solution. 2 inductive charging pads, however they are not cooled. Then the center console with the shifting lever or start-stop button. Here you can still manually control the volume, and this is where you put in the different driving modes. This is where you put your NFC card when you start the vehicle just with a key card. You don't have to lay it down here. You can put it away then again. And then solidly built armrest and more space underneath. Inside of the rear doors, also the nice microfiber insert. High-grade leatherette, soft touch on the top part. Also built quality-wise. Just hardback here in the lower part. That's actually quite nice. And also these floor mats here with some colored stripes, and it goes all the way through. There's of course no middle tunnel here, and then we have some more charging possibilities in the lower part. Well, in the seating here, first of all, as for the legroom, I mean, it's not the shortest vehicle, still have some legroom left here as a tall adult. As the seat could be actually going a little bit higher, then it would be better to put my shoes also under the seat. So when it's a little bit higher, it would be better. Headroom with this fixed glass roof. So here I have some space over my head here still with 189 or 6'2". So overall decent offering of space, but not the best package, I would say. And it's also very comfortable here with the high-grade leatherette and a soft touch on also these quilting on the rear seats. So really attention to detail also on the head restraints and so on. This one you can fold down. Adaptive cup holders, so everything feels really nice and solid. By the way, if you wonder, what about a shade? So there's no automatic shade available, but you can have these manual shades. You can fold them out and then you can basically squeeze them in there to have an additional shade on this glass roof if you're constantly living somewhere where it's really hot. That would be good for you, right? After seeing this interior, you might even consider it as a competitor to the Mercedes EQE. Size-wise, it also more or less fits. And also trunk, Model 3 and the Mercedes EQE, and also here the BYD Seal. They also have this separate trunk opening, so no fastback at all. 400 liters it is, and the width is 1 meter or 40 inches. The length is 1 meter or 40 inches, and the height here is about a little bit more than 40 centimeters or 17 inches. And then let's get out the luggage, and you have more storage here underneath. There we go, and underneath there's then, like this emergency kit and so on. And from here, we cannot fold anything. Have to go around then to the rear seats. And then we can fold here in 2/3, 1/3 split. We start with some city driving here in Thomas's driving lounge with the BYD Seal. Sorry about that. Seal, Yeah, okay. Let's get back to the driving. So what I found very curious here. This sound, or this chime the vehicle is doing while being really slow, it is of course mandatory by law, but I found it here, I think you can even hear it on camera, extremely loud. And even now when you're like in the basement garage or something. So I feel they could just be a little bit more silent there. But then here, you know, when you're driving a little bit faster, then of course it's gone. So it's really just for the very, very slow speeds. It's actually for pedestrians, but you hear it so much already on the inside. However, you can adjust it a little bit here at the moment. Dynamic sound, maybe you hear that. Standard is a little bit more drawn back, so that's already better. And then here, there's the standard mode, and you can switch to brand, and then it's also a little bit more silent. It more sounds like, you know, like you put the baby to sleep or something. Ding, 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 ding. So I think when you leave it here in brand and standard, then it's most drawn back, and it's definitely less annoying than if it's here on standard and dynamic. That would be the most annoying chime you hear also on the interior. Steering feel here is actually light, but likable. Let's here, compare here. In Sport, you have a little bit more feedback. Yeah, I also like that, but the steering feel is really nice in a way that, there it goes with the chime again, not sure if you can pick it up on camera, but here the steering feel, you don't have any dead zone area, it directly reacts and so on, and also the outside, it's really smooth, it's a very good process, so I'm really happy with the steering feeling. There it goes with the chime. And the throttle is also very good to control. Just when you're like parking in and out, you have to learn to be very gentle with it, because especially in the all-wheel drive version, just has so much power. And then, of course, you have to reduce the G-force on your passengers. Always be gentle with that. And here about recuperation at the moment, you know, kind of rolling, and then recuperation goes via the brakes. You have some settings here, actually, and then new energy manager. And then you can have energy feedback intensity standard or high. So accelerating, and then, yeah, there we go. So now when I'm going off the throttle now, there's more recuperation. I wouldn't say it's a one pedal driving feeling, no. I'm also really happy to see digital instruments, because by that I don't always have to look over to the right side here to the main display like you have to do in the Tesla Model 3. So, and then you have the head-up display, so you have both, so you can also have it in your line of sight. And accelerating out of the corner, just slightly, yeah, super powerful, extremely effortless. Also here going some left and right. The car feels really light and agile here in the city, although these cars with the large batteries, they're never light in the sense of total weight or something, but it just feels like that. Turning indicator sound, by the way, that one sounds a little bit weirdo, so a little bit cheap. However, everything else, what you see and feel, experience here in the driving, also from the seats and everything, definitely feels like a premium vehicle. Then here the road gets a little bit rougher, 19-inch wheels, and we have here in the all-wheel drive version these adaptive frequency dampers. So they are semi-active, so that means they react with these hydraulic cushions. And so far, I'm actually quite happy with that. It is rather a sporty ride, yes, but I would feel it is not as stiff or harsh as you sometimes feel with the Model 3 or Model Y. Let's do one more lane change here in the city. Nice job. So feels really nice and smooth. So looking forward how the suspension reacts when we have higher speeds on the German Autobahn. That's where we're heading right now. Now we head to the motorway, and let's go to the sport mode. Then we also have indeed more power output. Leah is preparing. Yeah, I mean, less than 4 seconds in the acceleration figure is like, whew, that is something. And here we are at around 50 kilometers an hour. Let's go. Plop, 120. So that was 50 to 120, and yeah, you can see the speedometer because the camera can't catch it because of the steering wheel, but you heard the Leah speedometer. So yeah, she definitely indicated the acceleration, and yeah, it's really quick, but still feels really balanced and controlled. Wow, this is amazing. Also here, that lane change, 120 kilometers an hour, like 70 miles an hour, feels super controlled, and it's a lot of fun. It is a great, sporty, fun vehicle, and I mean, at this acceleration figure and this driving dynamics, it's really a sports car, you know, in that way. Like you bought maybe like a C63 or something, or an M3 something, and you have to think about, you pay like maybe like a third of the price for that. So in Germany, this one here is a couple of €1,000 more expensive than the Tesla Model 3 in the, you know, in the versions each. And I think is actually in this case even justified. We have to say that. Yes, there is the charging, that's definitely better with Tesla Model 3 and the supercharging network, but driving-wise, this easily drives better than the Tesla. And you also have to think about the Mercedes EQE. Well, that one feels a little bit bigger, although there's not much length difference. It feels bigger in the sense of segment, but as for the quality in the driving feel, yeah, I mean, they can also compete with that. The seats are super comfortable, also on the Motorway. Suspension is also totally fine. Yes, it is a sporty one, so it's not like a soft carpet ride or something. It's not. Good steering feel. Overall, this vehicle also here in driving ticks all the boxes, you know, in that corner, really smooth, good feeling over the vehicle, and I can directly see everything. Assistance systems wise, this is not elaborated yet for the European market, so they need to do that. We've seen it with a lot of other Chinese manufacturers. They need more time to implement all the assistance systems that are working quite well on the Chinese market, but they don't do that wide here. So I've deactivated them all. So this is one thing that is still missing, definitely, but at least when you deactivate them, then you don't have any annoying beepings and so on. However, you always have to do that at each startup of the vehicle. And for example, when we had earlier smartphones in the inductive charging pad, the message that it was charging came up, then it was, you know, just laying there again, and at some point it came up again, and that was also a little bit annoying. And you maybe saw it here, we are in this dark mode here now for the screens. You can have it in the auto mode, and it acts according to the light. However, in the dark mode, it's a little bit more, you know, drawn back. It was too bright, and also this screen here was often flickering on camera when it was in the bright display. Here, when someone can enter the Autobahn, there's no speed sign, then it means it's also unlimited speed. So, let's go. Plop, 150. That was 100 to 150, so even in the higher speed regions. Hey, and noise insulation wise, let's go faster. 160, 170, 180. That one goes 190? It's not supposed to be that fast. Interesting. So the official top speed is 180 kilometers an hour or 112 miles per hour, but that one was 190 and there was still a little bit left. So, did I find out something here? Well, good to know for the German Autobahn, and it was there so quickly. And noise insulation wise, great job. So it was really silent. That once again speaks for the build quality, and even at the higher speeds, very much in control. Oh, that was maybe like I was, you know, testing the steering here once again, but maybe the car was detecting like, hey, you're running off the road or something. And now we're getting off the motorway. It's always a nice test as well. Let's do one more lane change here. Yeah, that's a lot of fun and it's really super smooth. Here now I've set the recuperation to the brake pedal. To me it's always, you know, a better feeling, and I can reduce the G-forces and so on. Also good motorway performance, but now the question is, when we drive a little bit further, what about the real world range and the energy economy? So what else did I realize while driving? The ACC only goes in 5-kilometer steps up and down. This, I think, needs to be fixed. Alongside, of course, with fixing all of the assistance systems. But we had that similar, for example, with Zeekr or Xpeng. And, for example, when I had the airflow set on, on the top and on the feet, there was still a lot of very cold air coming from the middle part here, even if I set the temperature a little bit higher. And therefore, when I had my hands here at the steering wheel, the left hand was always very cold. So yeah, this maybe also needs to be addressed. This here, by the way, is their large SUV, the Tang. But what about the BYD Seal here in our drive today? Exterior-wise, I think it works very well also on the European market. Interior, a high build quality, so nothing to criticize there. Of course, while driving, some of the assistance systems and so on, they're still working on the final software tweaks here and so on to make it also suitable for the German market and so on. Does it drive better than the Tesla Model 3? Yes, it does. However, in charging, quick charging, and also, of course, the charging network, there again, the Model 3 is still better. Also, the front driving position, for example, is better suitable for tall people than in the Model 3 as for the headroom and so on. Big difference also, for example, to Neo, which sell at really high premium prices. They here at BYD sell at pretty decent prices. Yes, there has been a big discussion also lately about the subsidies by the Chinese government, and a lot of governments worldwide do subsidize their car industry. Just the difference is that the Chinese government has a lot of money and definitely, we can see more ambient lighting there. They, of course, have a lot of money also to subsidize their car brands there. And that's also one of the reasons why they can offer them here at so decent prices. And about economy and real-world range, we could score some 17 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers, including some accelerations, so that could even be a little bit more efficient. However, good temperatures, very mild temperatures outside also today. So that means some 3.6 kilowatt hours per 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. That's what I wanted to say. So the overall realistic real-world range then today would be 480 kilometers or 300 miles. And that is once again very competitive. Overall, the car is definitely very competitive. And if they do some more tweaking, yes, a serious competitor for the Model 3 and even for the German EVs as well, of course, because it competes also with the premium products. If you want to check them out, see the competitor reviews on Autogefühl right now.